like and subscribe, or this big elephant will stomp on you. Welcome to Animals Wow TV. Today we'll look at the 10 near-death animal encounters. Stay until number 1, and you'll be in for a whale of a time. Number 10. Elephant charges at the Terminator. Animals can be very scary because they can be quite unpredictable. One moment they're eating peacefully, and the next they're charging at you. Thousands of human deaths are caused by this unpredictability. There's a very thin line between getting mauled to death by an animal and having a near-death encounter with them. And we've already done several close encounters with bears. And now here are 10 extremely heart attack-inducing close calls with other wild animals that we've seen in recent years. And we start with an animal that took on the Terminator himself. He may be a big Hollywood action hero, but in real life, even Arnold Schwarzenegger is no match for an African elephant. In 2016, the actor shared this video of a trip to South Africa. The video starts with a gigantic African elephant blocking their vehicle. The magnificent creature bumps against the front with its tusk and trunk before backing off when the driver starts the vehicle. We hear Arnold say,
"No, he's gonna charge us."
But the elephant seemingly loses interest as it walks to the side of the road. Then it veers toward the vehicle again, gaining momentum. We hear people saying, "No," and cursing as the elephant runs after the vehicle. And even though it may look funny now, Arnold admitted that some people in the group had to change their pants. He didn't specify who those people were though. Number 9. Silverback gorilla attacks Honeymooner. And now let's go to Rwanda, specifically at the Volcanoes National Park, where humans can get an up-close and personal look at troops of silverback gorillas. As we can see in this video, 2 young gorillas are playing with an adult, while a bunch of humans look on happily. The adult male gorilla plays with them, but he suddenly stands up, beats his chest to intimidate the humans, and charges at the group of tourists. Several of the guides get out of its way, but the gorilla ignores them and goes for a woman in a bright pink blouse and shoves her with one gigantic hand. Then it hightails it out of there. Let's see that again in slow-mo. By the way, the woman is on a safari tour as part of her honeymoon, and the guy taking the video is her new husband. We're sure this is one trip they'll never forget, and the woman looks like she didn't suffer any big injuries as the guides help her to her feet. She's even managed to laugh at being shoved by a 300-kilo silverback gorilla. The woman later told the media that her brightly colored blouse might have made her a target, and for a split second, she feared for her life. But she remembered what the guide had told her, so here's a lowdown. If you ever feel the need to also go on your honeymoon in Rwanda, when one of the gorillas approaches you, act submissively and don't look them in the eye. In other words, avoid eye contact and play dead. Number 8. Lions frighten tourists. Okay, so lions scare me even when I'm just watching them on my TV. I mean, who wouldn't be scared of these? So just imagine how these guys felt as they watched this lion aggressively eating his lunch. The beast snarls at the humans several times while his buffalo lunch twitches in pain. In a way, his irritation is kind of understandable. Who would want humans staring at you while you eat? Anyway, the lion finally has had enough and he lunges at the humans. Only a thin wire fence saves the humans from a mauling. But this scare is nothing compared to what happened to a group of students on a safari tour. A large white lion called Zeus decides that he wants to be part of the tour. So he jumps inside the open truck. This video starts in the middle of the action as guides tell the students to relax. The guides must have been very persuasive, because one guy even gets a quick photo before climbing off the truck with the others. The same guy later takes a selfie, albeit a few meters away from the animal and the truck. And these students were lucky because Zeus and his mates were raised by humans before they were sent to the Limpopo Reserve. The guides had already warned the students that the lions thought cars were toys, and the students must have thought the guides were just joking. Boy, were they wrong. One girl in a pink shirt is left behind. She must have been so scared, but she eventually gets down, and Zeus has the trucks all to himself. Anyway, the moral of the story is don't go wear pink when you're on a safari tour. Otherwise, the animals will always go straight for you. Number 7. Rhinoceros rams at zookeeper's car. Have you ever heard of the Serengeti Safari Park? Nope, it's not in Africa. It's actually a zoo in a northwestern place in Germany called Lower Saxony. The zoo got a new 30-year-old rhino named Cassini in 2019. We're not exactly sure why they did this, but the park staff thought it'd be a good idea to paint a car like a zebra and make it follow Cassini around. At first, the rhino ignores it, but when the car follows it and suddenly stops, the rhino becomes a rampaging animal. He rams against the car until it turns over several times. No one really knows why the rhino flipped out, but zookeepers had noticed that Cassini was having trouble adjusting to his new home. The park staff in the car managed to escape with only minor injuries, but this just shows that even those who work closely with animals aren't exempted from having scary encounters. Number 6. Shark breaks into diving cage. Unless you're Christina Zanato, who was the shark whisperer woman we featured who takes hooks from the mouth of sharks, you will need a diving cage if you want to view sharks. But one avid scuba diver discovered in Mexico that even a cage is not enough to stop a great white shark. And here's the video to prove it. We see a juvenile shark take the piece of tuna given to it as bait. Then it swims down and somehow manages to enter the cage. The diving crew immediately opens the top hatch, but they can only stare in horror as the shark continues to thrash around. For a moment, the horror mounts because there's blood on the side of the shark. And after about 20 seconds, the shark finally wriggles free from the cage and leaps back into the open water. The employees slowly pull up the safety cord, and after a few seconds, the diver miraculously comes up and the crew heaves sighs of relief. In a later interview, the diver said that he had joined the tour to take pictures of the great white shark, but during the encounter, he couldn't take a single photo because the shark was thrashing too much. He didn't even have time to be terrified because the shark was right there above him. Thankfully, the shark was too preoccupied with getting out of the cage than the tiny human trapped beneath it. Otherwise, the diver would have been the main course after the tuna appetizer. We're halfway through. Are you liking this video? Then please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. Remember to hit the notification button for regular updates of our informative and exciting animal videos. Number 5. Leopard mauls school staff. According to previous surveys, the southwestern region of India called Karnataka has about 1,500 leopards. These wild animals rarely stray into urban areas. But rare doesn't mean never though, like this male leopard that visited a private school. Somehow the male leopard got inside the school, then walked from the corridors to the swimming pool area, where it proceeded to bite and maul the humans there, especially the guys that tried to capture him. We don't see it in the video, but the leopard eventually leaps out of the school grounds, and government officials finally tranquilize him and take him to a wildlife park. Meanwhile, the humans he bit suffered major injuries. One even got broken bones, but they all recovered. Good thing the leopard visited during a Sunday, so no students got injured. Number 4. Hippopotamus bites tourist's leg. If you think that close encounters happen only on land in Africa, think again. This woman was celebrating her birthday by canoeing through the Zambezi River in Zimbabwe. It was supposed to be a peaceful, beginner-friendly tour for the woman and her husband, but 10 minutes into the tour, one of the guides frantically told the couple to head towards the left. Before they could do that, a large hippo emerged from beneath the canoe. The woman was thrown into the air and dropped into the river. When she broke through the surface, she saw her husband swimming to the shore. She tried to follow, but the hippo clamped on her right leg, pulled her underwater, and tossed her from side to side like a rag doll. And good thing the woman's diving skill saved her. She held her breath and didn't panic. She punched at the animal's jaw and somehow managed to make it dislodge her. Then she swam to shore despite her bleeding leg. She was given first aid help before being airlifted to a hospital. Before the trip, the woman had done a bit of research on hippos and learned that they're very dangerous both on land and in the water. They could even snap a canoe in half. It's a good thing it didn't manage to snap the woman's leg in half. Number 3. Elk headbutts photographer. As of 2020, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in North Carolina had about 200 elks, including a bull that's about 1,000 pounds. Now, if its weight doesn't scare you, then maybe the elk's large and sharp antlers will. So what would you do if you were in the place of this photographer? In 2013, this video of an elk headbutting a photographer sitting by the road became viral. Thank goodness the elk is still young. Its antlers aren't that big yet, but they're still sharp and deadly. Experts say that the photographer did the right thing, acting submissive and not panicking. Even when the elk becomes more and more aggressive, finally, the man's ride arrives, so he stands up and calmly walks to the car. But get this, he's left his equipment behind. Well, at least for a moment. When the elk finally leaves the stuff alone, the photographer goes back for his stuff. But that's not the end of the story. The park later announced that they had to put down the elk because it was becoming too aggressive against humans, and the photographer sent a message about looking forward to meeting the elk as a mature bull and being heartbroken that the animal had been killed. Number 2. Cow rushes at grandma and grandson. Remember what we said about animals being unpredictable? This CCTV footage shows how an ordinary cow goes from calmly standing to a raging bull in just a second. It rams against an old woman and throws her to the ground. Then it turns to the woman's grandson and rams the boy to the wall. And he even kicks the boy for good measure. The boy escapes and carries his grandma away. But the cow isn't done and goes for another strike. By this time, other people have noticed what's happening, and one man tries to distract the cow and immediately backs away. We don't see it in the video, but the cow attacks 3 more people before moving away. Both the boy and his grandma survive with minor injuries. And for many Hindus, the cow is a sacred animal. But for the old woman and her grandson, cows must be pretty low in their prayers right now. Number 1. Whale chomps on kayakers. When it comes to animals that almost kill humans, the last one you'd probably think of is a whale. They're such gentle giants, and most of them don't eat anything larger than a krill or small fish. So you can imagine how surprised these whale watchers were when a big humpback in Avila Beach, California, almost ate 2 kayakers. We see the whale come up from beneath the 2 kayakers. The whale looks like it almost swallows them whole. We're gonna see a Jonah just like in the Bible? No. The kayakers tip over and go underwater before re-emerging from the water. Humpback whales are popular among whale watchers because they swim near the surface and love to jump out and slap the water with their tails. This one just got a bit more active than normal. And hey, at least it gave the whale watchers something different to talk about. There you have it, our 10 near-death animal encounters. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to our channel. And while you're here, check out our video of the woman who took 300 hooks from the mouths of different sharks.